Hi everybody. So, I have a phone stalker. Sounds so ridiculous. It seems so ridiculous. I have a phone stalker. Basically, he calls me up all the time. It started out, I met this guy in the mall, and it was weird from the beginning because basically he had his driver slash assistant come up and talk to me first, and then he kind of came up afterwards. And so this whole time they're talking to me, and they took about 15 minutes out of my day. The one guy who's the valet is going, "Oh, you got to date this guy because he's so great. You just got to date him. He's rich and he's just a good guy." And then the guy who's trying to date me is is talking to me too and saying all these things, and he's telling me about how he's from Sri Lanka and he's a hotel owner. And so he says stuff to me like, "So you come down to Sri Lanka anytime, I'll let you stay in my hotel, I'll take you on safari." Which I feel really awkward doing the voice because it's so stereotypical. But what you have to understand is this guy was so much the caricature. He was very borderline on the stereotype. I don't know. He had a suit. He looked the part. He had a gold tooth. I mean, come on. So what ends up happening is I end up giving him my phone number. And even as I'm writing out the phone number, I'm going, I really don't want to be doing this. I'm like wanting to hold on to the number as he's taking it out of my hand. But I was in such a rush that day. I was busy. I needed to get on with my day. These guys would not leave me alone. So I ended up giving him my number. So it is partially my fault. And at first it was okay. I mean, I just figured the guy would call, I wouldn't answer. Eventually he's going to realize that I'm not interested in him, and he'll stop calling. No. 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 He calls me the very same day. He calls me that night. He calls me the very next morning. And he's leaving messages like, "Oh, I love you, baby. You're so beautiful. I want to make you my girlfriend. Oh," and stuff like that. You know, that's okay. I kind of laughed at it because it was funny. I mean, I felt bad, but it was funny. And after a while, I mean, after he started waking me up at 2 o'clock in the morning, though, with his phone calls, then I kind of started responding back. I'm like, I send him a text message. I'm like, "Please don't call me anymore. I'm sorry, but I'm not into you." That's when it switched, and he starts doing the "I'm so horny, sexually explicit, oh God, disgusting" voicemails. He goes there and goes beyond there. And he starts leaving those 1 or 2 a weekend. And this has been going on for about a month and a half or 2 months or something like that. So I'm basically to the point. I've had to silence his number, and now I'm going to have to figure out how to block his number because he won't stop calling. I even picked up the phone once and told him not to fucking call me again. Doesn't matter. He keeps calling anyway. He keeps wondering why I'm not calling him back. Yeah. So the inevitable conversation that comes out of this situation is what I should have done at the beginning to avoid giving him my number so that I didn't have to deal with a crazy 60-year-old stalker man. Now, there were 3 things I could have done, at least according to my friends. 1, I could have told him no. Just flat out told him no. You know, I wasn't interested. I didn't have to be rude, but I could have just told him no, which is a very viable thing. But I have a hard time with that. See, I don't want to hurt people's feelings, so I have a hard time saying no to giving out my phone number sometimes in those situations, because I don't want to make the person feel bad. So I end up having to do the passive-aggressive thing where I just don't answer the phone, which is not a good thing. See, the thing is, I don't think they would have let me go anyway. I think they wouldn't have taken no for an answer, which is a problem. Number 2 is that I could have told them I had a boyfriend, which is a very simple solution. It makes it clear that you're not interested, and it gives you a viable excuse, even if it's not true. My problem is, I don't think that way. My automatic response is to tell the truth. When somebody asks me if I'm not thinking defensively when I get into these situations. Not that they happen very often, but yeah, I mean, my automatic response is to tell the truth. And so I end up usually telling more truth than I probably should. And the number 3 solution would have been to give him the wrong number. Now, my sister gave my father's number. My friend suggested that I give the Los Gatos Police Department number, both of which I thought was pretty funny. And there's also this thing called the rejection hotline. The number you give them, basically, they call it, and it's this big, long, drawn-out rejection. But back to kind of number 2, I don't automatically think to lie. And besides, the truth is that I would probably be the one who got caught. There you go. It's my number. Thanks. You know this is the rejection hotline, right? Yeah, so here's my number. Thanks. Give me just 1 second here. What are you doing? Oh, I'm just calling your number to make sure it's real. Shit. So yeah, I mean, I guess this video is sort of a plea to not just men, but to women who are approaching men, because I know even though guys bear the brunt of the burden in terms of approaching a stranger and asking for their number and trying to ask them out on a date, women do it too. Women do it too. So, whoever you are, give the person you're asking out a way out. I mean, give them an escape route. Don't be super pressury, it's not even a word. Don't sit there and apply so much pressure. Don't get to the point where the other person has to be mean to you. Give them an easy route out. Because the thing is, like, even if the person is super nice and they don't want to be mean, you can usually tell that they're not interested. Either they're standing there looking for the exits, they won't meet you in the eye, or they're doing the hemming and hawing sounds. I guess so. Okay, and to sort of wrap things up, I have 3 comment questions I'd like you to answer. Comment. 1, what have you done to avoid giving someone your number? Have you told them you had a boyfriend when you didn't, or a girlfriend? Have you given them the wrong number? Or what other lengths have you gone to? Number 2, if you had to be rejected, how would you choose to be rejected? That way I kind of know how people feel about that kind of thing and know how to handle it in the future. Number 3, have you ever had anybody give you the wrong number when you asked for their number? And if so, how did you feel about it? Did you find it funny or were you pissed off? And that's it. And thank you to Jason Speaks for being my new subscriber. I am now up to 3 subscribers. Yeah. Have a good night. Why can't I remember?